All right, so to start off, we are going to briefly talk about the numbering system because that confuses a lot of people. I often see this all the time on Facebook Marketplace and on eBay with resellers who are not educated about Barbie. They will often insist that the doll is from 1958. Barbie wasn't even sold until 1959. The key difference that we use to tell a number 3 apart from a number 2 is this facial screening. Hey everyone, it's Ian here, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to be talking about how to identify the Vintage Ponytail Barbies. In just the course of 4 years, there was a lot of variation in these dolls. It's very important to be able to know and to identify what type of a ponytail doll you have, because that will greatly determine the worth and the overall value of the doll. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone fairly new to collecting, or maybe not a collector at all, maybe you're just watching this video to be able to figure out what type of a ponytail you have, this video is for all of you, because we are going to be covering all of the Vintage Ponytail Barbies today. Now, I do happen to own the vast majority of the Vintage Ponytail Barbies that were produced from 1959 to 1963, and for the ones that I don't own, I will be sharing very high quality photos in this video, so don't worry. Now, just a disclaimer, I am not by any means a professional. I have been collecting for a number of years now, but take my advice with a grain of salt. However, I will say this, I am a huge bargain hunter. So over the course of these last 2 years, I have really educated myself on how to identify Vintage Ponytail Barbies. So my goal today is to help you easily and quickly identify the type of doll you have. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on in. All right, so to start off, we are going to briefly talk about the numbering system because that confuses a lot of people, myself included, especially when I started my journey in collecting vintage Barbie. The numbering system was never created by Mattel. This is a system that was created by collectors throughout the years to help them identify the various small changes that happen throughout the ponytail line. The Ponytail Barbie is also a name that we just give the original Barbie. Barbie was released in 1959, and the only hairstyle she had back then was a ponytail. So in just a 4-year period of producing these dolls, collectors have identified 7 key variants to help you determine which type of a ponytail Barbie you have. And obviously this numbering system goes in sequential order, with the number 1 ponytail being the oldest ponytail and the number 7 being the latest version produced. It is important to be aware of this numbering system because this is what a lot of people use in order to determine value, especially when reselling a doll. So, as we cover all of these Ponytail Barbies today, the one big identifier that all of these dolls will have are very important markings on the right buttocks of the doll. Now, unfortunately, due to policy issues, I will not be showing these actual markings, but I will be writing them out as they appear on the dolls, just for easy identification. So in 1959, we saw the release of the very first Barbie. The number 1 Barbie had markings on her buttocks that read Barbie TM, Pat's Penned, with the Roman numerals of the year 1958, followed by the words by Mattel Inc. So it's important to know about this date because this just indicates the year that she was trademarked, but she was not sold until 1959. I often see this all the time on Facebook Marketplace and on eBay with resellers who are not educated about Barbie. They will often insist that the doll is from 1958. But disclaimer here, Barbie wasn't even sold until 1959, and these Roman numeral dates of 1958 will be on the doll for many further years to come. So both the number 1 and the number 2 Barbies were sold in 1959. So what's important to note about the number 1 and the number 2 Ponytail Barbies is that their skin tone fades to a very light ivory color. This is a flaw in the vinyl of these dolls when they were originally released and on the shelves of toy stores back in 1959. They had normal flesh-colored skin, but there was a flaw in the vinyl which caused them to dramatically fade. So even though there is a slight difference between a number 1 and a number 2, they do have the exact same body aside for one minor detail, which I will mention in just a minute, but their bodies are the exact same shape, the exact same height. They have the exact same markings on the buttocks, and they have the exact same facial screening. They have heavily high arched eyebrows and white irises and red lips. This facial screening is very distinct and only was in the first year of Barbie that she had this look. The biggest difference that sets a number 1 ponytail apart from a number 2 ponytail is that the number 1 ponytail will have holes in the bottom of the feet. The reason for this is that Barbie originally came with a prong stand where her feet would snap into those prongs. This was based off of a mechanism from a doll in Germany that Mattel really favored. Her name was Build Lily, and in many ways the original Barbie took a lot of inspiration from Build Lily, not only in the fact that she had a similar facial screening, but she also had that prong stand. So it's pretty easy to be able to tell if you have a number 1, because not only will she have that white ivory skin tone and that very distinct facial screening, she will also be the only Barbie in the entire ponytail line to have those holes in her feet. So aside from that key difference, now we know how to identify a number 1 Ponytail Barbie from a number 2 Ponytail Barbie. And also keep in mind, this all happened within Barbie's first year of her release in 1959. So now we've covered the number 1 and the number 2, the 2 dolls that I don't have and I'll never own because they are way too expensive. Now let's go ahead and dive into 1960, where we will talk about the number 3 Ponytail Barbie and the number 4 Ponytail Barbie. So for basically the first half of 1960, we had these beautiful number 3s, but once again, we still had this issue with the vinyl. These dolls get ghastly white. I happen to own 2 of them. I have a variant that has brown eyeliner and a variant that has blue eyeliner. So even within the number 3, we have quite a few differences here. The key difference that we use to tell a number 3 apart from a number 2 is this facial screening. Barbie now has a little bit more realistic looking eyebrows. Those dead white irises have now been colored in with a pretty dark blue color, and she also has eyeliner. Now towards the end of the production of the number 3 ponytails, some of them were produced with blue eyeliner, but just note that the brown was far more common among these number 3s. And also a really great key detail to know that you have a number 3 is that brown eyeliner, because this is the only Barbie in the entire Ponytail Barbie line that was ever produced with that color. Now, some of these number 3 Ponytail Barbies also have a little bit more of an orange colored lip. Now, I don't know if that's just from fading or if they really were originally painted that way. I have a hard time distinguishing this, but just know that there are a handful of number 3s that can tend to have more of an orangey color instead of that really deep red color that you see typically on these ponytail dolls. Either way, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many other collectors, the number 3 Ponytail Barbies are some of the most beautiful Barbies. These dolls get ghastly white, and so obviously Mattel wanted to change that, and that is when we were introduced to the number 4 Ponytail Barbie. I collect a lot of number 4s because in my opinion, they are some of the most beautiful examples of vintage Barbie, because these are the ones that are the first variant to be able to retain their original skin tone. Not only that, they still have very beautiful facial screenings and the exact same body markings as we have seen on the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3. The number 1, the number 2, the number 3, and the number 4, skin tone aside, all came on these heavy bodies. This torso is solid and this doll is heavy. And if I take my finger and click it against the back, I can just tell that it is solid. Whereas some of these later editions of the body that are now hollow make a different noise and they're a lot lighter. By 1961, we see the release of the number 5 Ponytail Barbie, and right off the bat, the biggest difference we now have as a key identifier for this version of the ponytail is those buttocks markings. They have now had a slight adjustment. They no longer read Barbie TM for trademark, but Barbie R for a registered trademark. So that is a very crucial detail to pay attention to, because that is the key identifying factor for a number 5 ponytail. It seems at this time, since the ponytail was an incredibly popular doll, that Mattel was looking for ways to make it a little bit more economical to mass produce. So the doll no longer has that really heavy, high quality, hard body. Instead, it is now on a hollow body. Now, aside from the main differences on the body, this is also the first time that Barbie finally gets an additional hair color. So by the time we hit the number 5 Ponytail Barbie, we are introduced to a third hair color, which is Titian, or more commonly known to us as a redhead. So if your Barbie has red hair, she's definitely not going to be a number 1, a number 2, a number 3, or a number 4, because red was not introduced until 1961 when the number 5 variant of the ponytail came out. I do think that these number 5s are really beautiful, but there is one fatal flaw that a lot of collectors do not like, and that is the fact that this doll was produced with a new vinyl yet again. Unfortunately, the plasticizer leaches on a lot of these number 5s. Not all of them, but some of the earlier versions of the doll, and they get what is called greasy face syndrome. And basically it just looks like their face is sweating a lot of the time, and it gives the exterior of the face a very shiny appearance. I still think this Titian is absolutely beautiful, and I will say, even though I'm not going to talk a lot about prices today, by the time we hit the number 5, the cost and price starts to really go down. So these dolls, as of this recording, as of today, are still relatively affordable. So by 1962, Midge, Barbie's best friend, goes into production, and she hits the market in the beginning of 1963. So Midge happens to be the second female doll that Mattel releases in the Barbie line. She's Barbie's best friend, and she also happens to have the exact same body as Barbie. So Midge's name was added to the body markings that you see on the right buttocks of the doll. The markings now read Midge TM, followed by copyright 1962, and Barbie registered trademark, followed by copyright 1958 by Mattel Inc. So it wasn't until the number 6 that the Roman numerals for 1958 were finally removed, and we had a completely different body marking aside from those small minor differences that we talked about earlier when we had the trademark versus the registered trademark. That wasn't the only difference on the body. The number 6 also saw the introduction of a much larger neck knob. The earlier Ponytail Barbie dolls all had a small neck knob, whereas the number 6 and the number 7 had a larger neck knob. And the larger neck knob makes the face and the cheeks a little bit more fuller, so it also gives the doll quite a different appearance. The fashionable zebra swimsuit was also replaced with a red knit jersey swimsuit. So the number 6s and the number 7s are the only Ponytail Barbies that were released in this red swimsuit. By 1963, there were also a lot of variations with Barbie's lip color and her hair color. Barbie now came out in many shades of blonde, brunette, and Titian. Now, the only difference between the number 6 and the number 7, which makes a lot of collectors debate whether or not they should even have a number 7 and just call it a number 6, is that the word patented is added at the end of the marking on the right buttocks. That happened at some point in 1963, and that is the only difference that you will see between a number 6 and a number 7. So this is a really beautiful example of a number 7. I believe she is a honey blonde, and she has the word patented on her right buttocks, which indicates that she basically is the last version of the Ponytail Barbie that was ever produced. I have noticed that the vast majority of the 6s and 7s have pink or coral lips. Very far and few of them have red. So not only have we covered now 4 years of Barbie's production, but we have covered 7 different versions of the doll that was produced during that time. I really hope that you found this video helpful and informative, and hopefully now you can easily and confidently identify which types of the vintage Ponytail Barbie you have. If this video was helpful for you today, please do me a huge favor by liking this video and definitely consider subscribing to my channel for more informative vintage Barbie, Ken, Alan, Midge, and Skipper content. My name is Ian, and thank you so much for watching today, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Bye.